going to talk about honey. Does anybody know how honey's made?
Bees.
Yes, bees. More specific though, can anybody say like what they think?
They go to flowers and they put it, and they make nectar, and then they let it set in their colony, and then it makes honey.
Kind of. Basically, the bees gather the nectar and the pollen from the flower, and then they use that. They eat that, and they regurgitate it into a cell where they cap it off, and then they do that multiple times, and it pulls the moisture out of the nectar, and then it makes this delicious treat we get to have today. So basically, you're eating bee vomit when you eat honey.
Ew.
It tastes good though, doesn't it?
Yeah. You don't even think it's really like beef.
Yeah.
Think of it.
But it's also very healthy for you. And does anybody know how long it takes before honey goes bad?
20 days?
Nope, more than that.
What?
A year?
More than that even. I'll let one more person guess.
20 years?
20 years? Nope, more than that. Literally, honey never goes bad.
What? Never?
Never. They find it in Egyptians' tombs sometimes, and it's still good. They've tried it. Over 3,000-year-old honey, tasted it, it's still good. So, it never goes bad. Now, Robbie's putting on something. Have you ever seen one of these?
Yes.
Does anybody know what it's for? You're putting it on his
So the bees don't sting.
So the bees don't sting you?
Yeah, basically, it keeps them from stinging your face and getting your eyes and your ears and such. This part doesn't help that much. You can still get stung through this part, but it's really quick to put on and nice and easy. And does anybody know what this is?
A smoker.
It is. We had to use it a few minutes ago. It's a little warm. Do you know why we use a smoker?
That bees, they like knock out bees.
Kind of. It calms them down, doesn't it, buddy? So, do y'all know why it calms bees down? Anybody want to take a guess?
So they don't all swarm you around at one time and try to sting you at once.
Yes, but I meant like, why does the smoke calm them down?
So they don't sting you?
Yes. Like, how does the smoke calm them down is what I'm trying to get at. One more person?
It chokes them?
No, it makes them think that the colony's on fire. So then, when they think the colony's on fire, bees, to save their honey, want to eat it so they can transport it to another colony. And they go in there and they eat all this honey. Now, what happens whenever you eat on Thanksgiving? What do you feel like after you eat on Thanksgiving? Sleepy. So if you're sleepy and stuff, you move slower and you're kind of calmer and you're pretty happy. And that's the way these bees feel after they eat all that honey. So they're less likely to sting you. What should I say? Oh. How long does a worker bee live? Does anybody know?
More than 20 days?
It is more than 20 days, but
A year?
not quite a year. It's about 6 weeks is how long a worker bee lives. And they're all females. All the worker bees are females. So all the ones that y'all see around here, there's a few of them still around here, those are all female bees right there. And in a lifetime, in the 6 weeks that it's alive, it produces 1 tablespoon of honey. So whenever you eat a tablespoon of honey, you're literally eating the life's work of a bee. So, thank you. How long does a queen bee live?
50 days?
No, more than 50 days. A year or two. It lives about 2 to 5 years. During that time, each year a new queen is born. And the queens actually either fight to the death or one of them leaves before it dies and takes a third of the colony with it. And that's how other new colonies are made. So then that colony would split into 2 colonies. That's how we keep the bee population. So does anybody know what this is?
Is it to scrape out the honey?
It's not used to scrape out the honey, it's used to scrape off stray wax and such and break apart the propolis, which is used to glue together the hives. It's what the bees glue, the natural way that bees glue together hives with it. It breaks it apart so you can get the sleeves out that have the honey on them. Also, the propolis is, I don't have any, actually, I don't know what I did. Oh, there it is. There's a piece. Yeah, that's propolis. So, this is from. It has pretty much every vitamin you need to survive in. And it's really, really sticky. I'm gonna move over here and show y'all it. It's really extremely sticky. And if you eat it, it's really good for you.
It gets stuck in your teeth though, so I wouldn't recommend eating.
Yeah, it stays stuck in your teeth if you eat it though. But it's extremely good for you. And it's kind of fun to play with and it smells really good. So, what else about bees? What have I left off? I think we've touched about everything.
About how they make wax.
Oh, do y'all know what, did I tell y'all what beeswax is?
No.
Okay, does anybody want to take a guess about what beeswax
Something nasty?
is? You can see it as that. It's bee sweat. So, there's a worker bee that goes around all day and all she does the whole time she's in the hive is eat honey. Wouldn't you love that job, just walking around and eat honey all day?
Yeah.
Well, there's another bee that's less fortunate that has to follow her around and picks the sweat off as she sweats it out. What? No, those are drones. But it's just another worker bee, and another female worker bee follows her around. Now, how much honey does it take to produce 1 ounce of wax?
50% of honey?
No, it's actually a little more than that even. It takes 6 ounces to produce 1 ounce of wax. So it's a lot more than that. And that's all I have on bees here today. So,
Do y'all have any questions?
y'all have questions on bees or apples or anything you've seen already?
How is this apple so big?
Just different apples. It depends the amount. Like if you have less actual fruit on the tree, you have more larger size of fruit on the tree generally.
Before they get bigger, pickers go through and they thin the apples. What thinning is they take off apples around one apple and then that makes it grow bigger because it has more room to grow.
Like our teeth?
Yeah.
Can we have some more of that juice?
No, I'm sorry, buddy. Let me think. So, does anybody remember how long a worker bee lives?
For about 2 years?
Worker bee, not queen bee. 6 weeks. Yeah, I told him that. Types of apple varieties. She talked about while there's there's like uncountable amounts of different apple varieties. Y'all know why that is? Anybody have a guess? When you plant an apple seed, the traits, you know how like a sunflower, if you plant a yellow sunflower seed, it'll grow a yellow sunflower? Mm-hmm. If you took apple seed from any of those apples and planted it in the ground, it could come up with any variety of apples because the traits aren't passed through the seeds in apples.
But birds, they also help from the life cycle because they can eat like part of the apple and then drop the seeds and everything.
Yeah, that's one of the cool ways that like fruit and stuff gets spread around our environment is like animals. Even we're considered animals. Whenever y'all throw that core away, wherever it ends up, it could potentially grow an apple tree. And so therefore we're just helping spread the apples. But that's neat about apples because they don't produce the exact same fruit. That's the reason if you're planting an apple tree, most of the time you're going to actually be planting a tree rather than a seed. If you're wanting a specific type of apple. Any other questions?
But don't you get hot in those coats?
Oh yes, they're very hot. That's the reason I put him in it. I didn't want to wear it. Yeah, it's a little less hot than you'd expect, but it's still very hot. You have to be careful whenever you're working out during the summer because it's easy to overheat. Drink lots of water and take it off regularly. Any other questions?
Do y'all get any breaks from this?
From this?
Yeah, from the work you do?
We had one earlier.
No, like if there wasn't no class here, like the regular job, do you get any breaks?
Oh, you mean like beekeeping? Whenever I'm beekeeping, I try to get in my house about every other week, but you tend to get quite a few breaks. Like you get weeks off where you don't mess with the hives because you're letting them just build up.
This afternoon, and out
to school on a Friday? Absolutely. Take a big deep breath of that wonderful country farm air. Fill your lungs with that. Isn't that awesome? Yes, absolutely. Well, you're at the soil station this afternoon, and I am a soil conservationist, and so is Mr. Rodney. We conserve the soil. Why in the world would we want to conserve the soil? Why is the soil important to us? Yes, sir.
Because it could provide a good farming grounds.
Good farming ground? Yeah, because most of all the food that we eat, right, is grown in the soil. What about just besides food is grown in the soil? What's some more things just right off the top of your head? What's grown in the soil that we use every day? Yes, sir. Plants. The majority of plants, yes, are grown in the soil. That's right, but what else? Has anybody ever looked at your clothes? Have you ever read what your tag says? 100% cotton. The majority of your clothes that you're wearing right now, I see everybody pretty much has got some kind of type of cotton. Cotton is grown in the soil. Has anybody ever seen a cotton field when you're driving out West Tennessee or out toward, Middle Tennessee even? Middle Tennesseans. And down south in northern Alabama, they plant a lot of cotton. And then also I see this lovely cowgirl's got leather boots on. Yes, leather boots. We're going to talk about that here in just a minute. But cotton is grown in the soil. That's something that we use every day. Because without cotton, there's a couple of different things. But without farmers, we would be hungry and naked for sure. No doubt about that. So we need to think about that for sure. But that's the last thing that we'll end on today. But what's something that y'all had? Y'all have already had lunch?
Yeah.
You had breakfast this morning? You just came from lunch? Tell me something that you had for lunch today. Yes, ma'am.
Slushies.
Slushies. All right. Tell me something that you ate. Yes. Grapes. And grapes are grown on vines. And vines are grown in the soil. Okay. Yes, sir. Chips. Okay. Sliced. What is that? What is a potato chip? Sliced potatoes, right? Yes. Fried potatoes even. You can eat fried potatoes. Who likes ketchup? That's just what? Ground up tomatoes and you dip potatoes in ketchup? Yes. Tomato plants are grown in the soil. Potatoes are grown in the soil. That's, you know the difference between like a root crop? Yeah, root crops are things that you grow in the soil. Yes, sir. What's something that you had to eat? A sandwich. Okay. That's what we had for lunch today, is sandwiches. We had a ham and cheese sandwich. So your bread, okay, and we can go back to also, bless you, what you had for breakfast. If you had biscuits, French toast, cereal, or any kind of grains like that, or our bread that we had with our sandwich at lunchtime, all those grains are grown in the soil. So notice how we're taking everything back to the soil? All right, bless you. So we had ham and cheese. Where in the world does cheese come from?
Milk.
Yes, sir.
Processed milk.
Milk, that's exactly right. And where does milk come from?
Cows.
Cows. And you're going to see that station in here just a little bit. So, milk, yes, cows. And this is a Holstein, actually, the black and white one. That's her breed. And she's a dairy breed. Some cows are raised for meat, and some are raised for dairy. Just like goats, some goats are raised for dairy, and some are raised for meat. So that's their specific breed. And there's certain characteristics that they're bred for. It's that. So this is a dairy cow, so she's mainly bred for milk. But what's some more things that we can actually get out of her that we utilize every day? Well, the milk, yes, but what else? Who likes hamburgers? Yeah, I'm all about some hamburger. Or what do you grind up to get hamburger? But steak. Ground steak, I'm all about, a good medium rare steak. Medium rare steak, ain't that right, Ronnie? That's what I'm talking about. So this cow eats what? What does she eat?
Grass.
Grass, that's right. The grass, just like what's under our feet right now, and all that's grown in the soil. What about if you were to cut that grass and you were to dry it and you were to bale it? What would that be? Those big round bales right there? Yes, sir. Hay. Dried grass is hay. That's the two things that she eats for sure. And then the grains that we talked about, just like that we make biscuits and we have bread and toast and cereal. Well, she eats grains too. She'll eat corn and sometimes some kind of soybean or some kind of mixture. Depends on what that farmer wants her to have and what kind of protein percentage or whatever. So all those grains that cow eats is also grown in the soil. What's something else that we get from the cow? Let's go back to the milk really quickly. Besides just milk, what does that milk turn into? Think about that. I don't know about anybody else, but do you like buttermilk? Good for you, because I'm all about buttermilk ranch. If it's going to be some kind of dressing, I'm all about using buttermilk and ranch. Buttermilk, do you know how that works when you make milk and then you churn it and you get the butter? Okay, butter, and then buttermilk comes from that as well. What about if you take a big scoop of something and you put it on a cone? Ice cream. Ice cream comes from milk, so that's something else that we get from the cows. And again, the cows eat the grain and the grass that grows in the soil. Okay, what's something else that cows provide us? What about these leather boots that I was talking about? My cowgirl friend here's got on. Leather products. You tan those hides and those are made into leather products for us. Boots, leather tennis shoes, leather belts, leather wallets. You might even actually have a watch. You might have the leather band, right? Leather jacket. Does your mom have a leather purse? I've got a really nice leather purse. Yeah, see, there you go. All those leather products that come from that animal that eats those grasses and those grains that are grown in the soil. So all that stuff is very important for us especially. But what's some animals or some things that live in the soil? We're talking about how the soil's important. What's something that lives in the soil that we need? Bugs. All kinds of different bugs. That's true. Yes, ma'am. Worms. And worms is what we're really going to talk about right now, because worms is very important. Okay, as those worms crawl through the soil, all right, we get a word of the day. Our word of the day is, okay, any living creature, if it eats, it also will produce manure or waste or poop. Now, there's a fancy word for worm poop, okay, or worm manure, and that's called, it starts with a C. If you break your arm, what does the doctor put on it? Cast. It's called castings, is what it's called. Oh, you do? Oh my goodness, you have a cast on your finger. Yes, yes. So, as those worms crawl through the earth, okay, and they eat the soil, all right, and that passes through their body, then they have a really rich nutrient or manure or their poop that comes out, or worm castings. That's the fancy word. So castings is the word of the day. So castings is the word of the day for us today. All right. So as they crawl through the earth and they churn it up, they mix it up, and there's another big word that's called aerate. It puts air back in the soil and it stirs that soil up. Okay. So it's not as compacted. All right. And it also makes what? When a worm crawls through the earth, besides leaving manure, what else does it leave? Tunnels, absolutely, very good. And that's actually what we have behind us is, this is Edgar Earthworm's soil tunnel, and we're going to pretend like we're a worm in just a few minutes, and you're going to get to see what a worm would actually see when he crawls through the earth. But what do worms not have? Legs or arms, or particularly fingers or hands. That's exactly right. So, no touching. That's right, because worms don't have hands, so there's no touching when you get in the soil tunnel, please. But why are worms slimy? Why do you think they're so slimy and sticky and yucky feeling? Yes, ma'am.
I've heard this before.
Well, because they have soil on them, possibly so. But actually, did you know their body produces a slime? Their body produces a slime because, do you remember that real big deep breath that we took a few minutes ago? And I said that our lungs just filled up with air. Well, worms actually don't have lungs. Their body is not made like ours. And worms actually are slimy, and they produce this slime for a couple of different reasons, but the main one is to help them breathe, because they breathe through their skin, so that's why they have to be slimy. And then it also helps them crawl through the earth, because it kind of lubricates them and helps them move. So that's one of the main reasons for sure. But we're going to pretend like we're a worm right now, and you're going to get to look on both sides. I want you to pay attention, and then when you come out, we're going to talk a little bit more about what you've seen in the soil tunnel. Okay, and you're going to start right here, Mr. Water Drinker. I love that. Thanks. High five on drinking all that good water for your body. You're going to go to Rodney right there, and you're going to be the first one to crawl through the tunnel. Because we've got to have water to live, right? Did you see him? He was hydrating himself with water. Yes. All living creatures have to have water to survive. And I'm going to go ahead and hand you right on. All right, and you guys go ahead and just start your line right there. If you want to leave your glasses up there. Good job. All right. And then you're going to go right back to your seat where you were. Next, yeah, you can leave your stuff on your bench. Yes. Now remember, pay attention and look on both sides because it's very important that you pay attention to what you're seeing.
Oh, I didn't
Now-
look on both sides.
Well, you need to look on both sides because the worm, would he just go through and look on one side? No, he'd be crawling through checking it out.
Okay, me and him are probably gonna have to go get.
Well, you need to be looking on both sides. That's very important. Yes.
Head.
Well, go ahead and sit down in your spot and we'll see how much time we've got. So that's okay. Go ahead and slide right back into your spot. So we're pretending like we're a worm. Tighten it back in your spot where you were sitting. Thank you so much. And remember, worms don't have hands, so there's no touching. And then just, yeah, as long as that person's feet is down in front of you, then you're good. Y'all just fade on in. All right, so we've talked about some things that come from the soil, some things that we have to have every day to function. All right, and we just talked about, remember that big deep breath that we took? Where in the world did that come from? Where do we get oxygen?
Plants. I mean, trees.
Trees, exactly. See those big tall things with leaves on them? Yes, trees provide us oxygen, that's right. Yes, they provide us oxygen in the air that we breathe. And all those trees are grown in the soil. So that, all right. We got a broke finger here. Are you doing okay? Okay, good job. All right, so y'all tell me some of the things that you just saw in the tunnel. Yes, sir.
I saw a rabbit.
A rabbit. There's a rabbit in there, that's right. Yes, a rabbit. Yes.
Snakes.
There is a snake. That's right. There is a snake in there. And what did you see? Is the snake your favorite? Yes. Yes, ma'am. What was it? Rats. It was actually a family of rats is what it was. There's a mama rat in there with some baby rats because they'll burrow up in the ground. Who's ever stepped in a fire ant hill before? Yeah, my goodness, those are painful. So that's another animal that actually, makes its home in the dirt or in the soil for sure. Yes. All right.
Can we take pictures of it?
You can. You can take pictures of it for sure. So, all right. Who else down here saw something in there? What was your favorite thing down this side? Yes, ma'am. Go ahead. A bunny. There's a rabbit. That's right. Exactly. Yes. Squirrel. Mouse. There's a mouse in there, but I could see where it could be recognized as a squirrel because it's kind of bushy and kind of fuzzy looking. Yes, sir. Down here, what'd you see? What about the soil profile? Did you notice the picture that had the soil profile?
Yeah.
There's a piece of indoor-outdoor carpet is what it is. So that actually, that's what represents the grass that's under our feet. Okay? So if we were really a worm, like crawling in the earth, we would see maybe the grass would be up here, and then we would see a layer of soil profile. What's the most productive soil? The most productive soil. When you see somebody out here with a tractor, what part are they tilling up? The top part, right? What's on the top of the earth. So that's actually called the topsoil, or the top 6 to 8 inches, preferably the top 6, is the most productive, and that's where most of our food is grown. And so that's why that's pretty important for us right now. So, Ronnie, is there anything that you wanted to add? So, what's something that you guys learned today that you didn't even really think about the soil? Yes, sir.
I don't know.
We kind of take a lot of things for granted, I think. When we sit down at the dinner table and we just eat, it's very important that we recognize and realize where those things come from. Because, first off, when you turn on your water spigot and you brush your teeth, is that brand new water that we get every day? No, because y'all have studied the water cycle and you understand how the water cycle works, right? We have underground aquifers and stuff that are under our feet right now. And then we've got the creeks and the streams and the rivers that are on actually the surface. And there's 2 kinds of water, and one is groundwater, that's what's underneath our feet, and then the other is surface water. So those 2 kinds of waters are very important to us because of the water cycle, because of the way the water cycle works. Because we drink the same water that the dinosaurs drank. Is that right? Yes, that's actually true. Now what about soil? Do we get brand new soil every day? Because the earth is what? Square? No, of course not. The earth is round, that's right. And what percentage of it is water? Yes, sir. Do you know? How much? No, how much? The percentage. If the earth is round and I don't have a ball, yes. 3/4 or 75%. That's exactly right. 75% of it is water. Bless you, Gesundheit. So 75% of it is water. And like I was praising this gentleman down here, he was taking a big drink of water because we have to have water. That's one of our main nutrients that we have to live. We have to have all this food that's grown in the soil that we talk about. That's the nutrients for us. Well, the soil also is a living organism, and it also needs that to live and thrive, and because we obviously need it. All right, remember, when you eat dinner tonight, when you change your pajamas, when you change your clothes, when you eat breakfast in the morning, thank a farmer, because without him, we would be what? Hungry and naked. That's exactly right. Y'all have a great day. Thank you so much for being such good listeners.